My name's Kirsty.
My name's Tracy.
And together we're heading out on an epic motorcycle road trip around Europe to discover what love means in the modern world.
As two highly driven, successful businesswomen, we'll be swapping our business suits and pulling on our biker boots to uncover the true meaning of love and exploring the human connection, meeting inspirational individuals along the way.
Starting off in London, we'll make our way across the Channel, down through France and across into Italy, meeting people who have overcome hardship, setbacks and trauma in their pursuit of finding long-lasting love. And who knows, we might even find love ourselves along the way.
Hi, my name's Kirsty and I'm a global retail brand consultant, and I work with fashion, sports and beauty brands, as well as working with individuals to help them develop their own personal brand. Yes, I'm a published author, and I was really lucky to get the opportunity to write a book based on confidence. So in fact, when I was a director at Fulham Football Club, I had an article written about me in Marie Claire magazine many years ago. And I was being featured about a woman kind of working in a male-dominant industry. And so they asked me to kind of really talk about kind of what made me feel confident working in such a male-dominant industry. And so I had an article written in Marie Claire, and the publishers approached me and asked me to write a book about it.
I'm Tracy and I'm one half of Business Suits and Biker Boots, and I'm a language alchemist, and often I get asked what is a language alchemist. So the definition of alchemy is turning base metal into gold, and this is what I do with people's language. So quite often your language will limit you from day to day, and people don't understand the metacognition of their thoughts, the thinking about their thinking. So I get them to become more self-aware and understand how their habitual language can often hold them back in life as well. So I work with military personnel and I desensitize them to trauma. I also work with your sports personalities, your singers, and also work in corporate and with groups of people as well. So I also work on live TV. I'm often on the main daytime TV in Wales, and often do some radio as well and different podcasts with different companies.
So I've kind of ridden scooters from a young age, or from a legal age that I could ride when I was younger, and I absolutely love them. I love the sense of freedom, you know, that kind of spirited adventure of every time you jumped on a scooter you felt like you were going to go somewhere really exciting. So I've ridden scooters for many years, but you know, it's been on my bucket list. You know, I thought before I hit 50, absolutely have to get my bike license. And so yeah, I kind of went ahead and got my license a couple of years ago.
So I've loved biking ever since I was 14. So I was brought up in a very small town, and this town was one of the towns which had the main routes for the bikers coming through from England up to Brecon, which is a well-known famous biking route. And I used to stand in the middle of the street just watching the bikes going through and thinking, one day I'll have my own. And I used to be a pillion, and often groups of bikes from our local town used to go out for the day, and we used to just hop on the back with them and just go spinning as you did as teenagers. So absolutely loved it. Spent years going to different MotoGPs and superbike racing, and now took the reins a little bit later on in life.
I mean, I love all types of bikes. I found it's taken me 2 years of bike shopping to figure out which ones I wanted. You know, I've kind of test ridden so many. And my God, you know, if I had deep pockets, I'd have bought like 2 or 3. But I settled on a Triumph, and it's a Bonneville, and it's a street twin. So I've kind of gone for the really classic kind of look and feel. But it's a beautiful bike. I think there's so much kind of history attached to Triumph. British made, beautifully designed, incredibly comfortable to ride. Important, I can touch the floor, obviously, but a really beautiful bike to look at, and it just makes me really happy when I ride it.
So I've got a Yamaha 700 at the moment, and it's just a beast. She's called the Terminator. It's got the biggest chunky monkey tyres on it that you could think of, and it's got a racing can on it as well. So you literally hear me coming from like 5 miles down the road, and I just love the row on it.
I cannot wait to go on this trip with Tracy. Imagine kind of, you know, we're going to go out on an adventure anyway, and we're going to discover so many wonderful places and meet some incredible people. But to do that with someone that you hugely respect and admire, and we've got each other's backs, you know, so we've got a real synergy when we ride together. But most of all, I know we are going to have some wicked fun along the way. And, you know, what better to go on an adventure with your best friend? Oh, I was going to cry then. I started to feel a bit mosh.
Before we head to Dover, we're catching up with brothers Rob and Paul Falcon. They were given a unique upbringing with their parents, volunteering and travelling around the world, where their passion for travel and trying to make a positive impact was ignited. Unfortunately, they lost their parents in the Boxing Day tsunami of 2004. In their parents' memory, they created Gandhi's, a travel-inspired fashion brand who are dedicated to giving back. And as a result, they also created the charitable foundation, the Gandhi's Foundation. Struck by the inequality they have seen around the world, the foundation has built kids' campuses and provides education, medication and nutrition to those who need it most. We are really keen to learn more about their challenges with overcoming adversity and discover how, emotionally, that shaped their brand. So guys, why is it sometimes that, when people have been through tragedy previously in their lives, and sometimes people just live in that tragedy, don't they? And they replay what's happened to them, and they stay in the story and they replay it all the time. What do you think? Well, why do you think it is that some people stay in that?
I think, everyone's different, and it's hard to say, why some people get stuck in it and some people can move on. I think ultimately no one completely ever moves on. There's always going to be that element of that tragedy or trauma is always there with you. But I think it's more about how you cope with it and what you choose to do moving forward. You can kind of live in the past with it, or you can look towards the future and think about trying to do something positive with your life and not kind of
take it in your stride.
Because this is what you've done, isn't it? Because you started the Gandhi's Foundation in 2012. Tell me how that went. How's that's gone with you?
Well, for us, our parents took us out of school when we were young, and we travelled the world, and we'd often be helping other kids and volunteering, and again we saw some kids that were in some really tough positions, and for us we wanted to then do something that reflected the upbringing that our parents gave us, and something where we could give back.
The other reason we wanted to start was we would always go and volunteer as 18, 19-year-olds to India and places, but you'd go for a month. You'd volunteer for a month, and then you'd come back and you'd feel really bad because you had to go back to work.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford.
Do you want to stay there and just?
Yeah, we would always want to stay, and we would come back and we'd feel guilty that we're not helping.
Yeah.
So by setting up our foundation, even when we're here with you
feel
guys,
like you're doing something.
Our projects are still running.
Yeah.
We don't have to be there all the time.
For the younger generation at the moment, there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxieties they're suffering with at the moment. So what advice would you give to the younger generation about living that life but being driven as well?
I think as you get older though, the anxiety or the stress or kind of the pressure that you feel when you're younger, you start to realise that it becomes easier and hopefully, and I think if you break it down piece by piece, sometimes when you're younger you just look at the whole thing and you get stressed out by looking at whatever the big problem is, but actually there's always a solution, and it's a case of we'll take it step by step and break it down. I think too often you can easily get overwhelmed, and it's the same as with everything that we've done with Gandhi's or everything in our past after the tsunami. We've then trying to find something straight away to focus on, and whether it was after the tsunami it'd be playing sport, we'd then get involved doing something like that and it would distract us, and then again as years have gone by then we've done Gandhi's and that's given us a focus to move forward. So I think it's a case of finding things,
that focus.
Find focus in something that makes you happy.
So you talk about striving to be the best versions of yourself and doing something you're passionate about. I know you're passionate about travel, isn't it? That's the key for you. And
That's the key thing for us.
The brand.
We both love travelling. Since we were pulled out of school at a young age, I was 11 and he was 13, and our parents told us to pack one bag, and we were only going to go for a few months. and it ended up being like 4.5 years.
Oh,
living
that's
like hippies.
amazing, isn't it?
And you just meet so many different people. And we went to Nepal at the end of last year to visit a new kids campus that we've built there, and we were riding around on motorcycles around the Himalayas to go visit it. So when you
That was
do
cool.
things like that,
Some of the best
Brilliant,
roads
isn't
as well.
it? Yeah. Do you know what? That's just for you guys. You know, you're living your dream. You're travelling. You're inspiring people and starting the kids' campuses up as well. You know, it's just a fantastic work that you're doing.
certainly keeps us busy and again occupied, and it comes back to that thing of, you know, finding something that you're passionate about that you can persevere with rather than getting distracted in the negative past or things like that. And actually it was kids as well when we were in Sri Lanka, when we were in our moment of need, they were the ones that helped us. So that's why we're always passionate about going back to help kids in some of these countries, because when we needed help, it was them that actually helped us. So that's why we're passionate about returning that favour.
Well, it's great to meet you, and then thanks for kind of bringing your gorgeous product along. And before we go into the detail of the product, can you tell me a bit about kind of your business kind of setup and structure, and where customers can buy your product?
So we set up Gandys about 7 years ago now, and we started with flip-flops, and that was our first ever product, just because we wore them loads when we were travelling around India as kids, and we just thought that would be a good starting point. And then as time's evolved, you know, we've changed our products, and we've moved into kind of doing all sorts now, from the jackets to the bags, and again, kind of living in the UK, you can only wear flip-flops for 2 weeks of the year. So
tell me about the design. So obviously, you know, the flip-flop was one of your iconic first products, but so how do you guys kind of develop your designs, and who gets involved in what in terms of the design side of things?
So we're both always putting ideas forward, and you know, the flip-flop, the matte print that we had on a flip-flop was our best-selling product. And for us, we just knew straight away that everyone associates us with travel. It's what we're passionate about. So then the lining of all of our jackets have got a matte print on it. So
This is incredible.
it's things like that that we've then taken into the DNA of the brand. Again, there's, you know, that was from our motorcycle trip when we rode around the Himalayas to look at the kids' campus in Nepal. So we put the mountains in there.
I love
and
that.
Again, kind of, even if you just look at the stitching here, you can see just on here there's basically a shape of a house, and it's basically in terms of building the kids' campuses. So yeah, kind of all those kind of details.
And didn't you do a collaboration with the Rolling Stones or something? Didn't you do some?
We've done some really fun flip-flops over the years. We did some with the
The
Rolling
Stones
Stones.
was a cool one.
Yeah.
It was our dad's favourite band as well.
They must have sold quite quickly, didn't they?
They did very well, and then we did some with Liberty as well, which was amazing. And we also did some with McLaren as well. So we were on when they kind of changed their Formula One cars and they put the halo on it, it looked like a flip-flop. So they said, did we want to be on the front of the car for their opening race when they were launching this safety device? So yeah, we had the Gandys Kingfisher right on the front of Fernando Alonso's car.
Oh my God, that's a real credit to you to be working with those kind of global partners to get your brand out there.
We learnt so much working with them. It's like so cool when you're in the garage and you've got the F1 drivers, the mechanics all working and that, and it's quite cool seeing how they operate. You can always take bits from other industries and put it into what you do.
So can you believe we're going tomorrow? I mean, after all of this time.
Do you know what? We've been planning this for so long, and
Oh,
all of a
I'm
sudden
so
it's
excited.
here. I mean, we've had the bikes checked over today.
Yeah.
So that was good.
And yours was fine, right? There was no kind of...
No, nothing. No, they checked everything over, and everything was good with it as
Amazing.
well. And the crew were fine, so they're going to come down in the morning.
Yeah,
they're
and all the kits packed, and I still cannot get over how much, you know, that we can put into our kind of panniers. And,
Oh my God.
It's incredible what you can
the
take.
Kits, you know, we've literally got a 20 litre and a 10 each side.
Yeah.
It's like the TARDIS.
No. And have you put, I mean, we haven't overpacked though, right? I mean, we just got everything
Mine are
that
full.
we need.
Yeah, mine are full, but oh my God, it's like I say, it's like the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And you've got your side
Yeah.
bags as well,
Yeah.
haven't you? It was mad. And do you know what I've got to say? I do feel sorry for a production company.
I am really sorry. You shouldn't have said side bags. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Okay, let's cut. Let's go from the start.
So, we're off to...
Oh god. Right, okay, let's deep breath. Everyone a deep breath.
That's it.
Go from the top. 3, 2, 1, yeah.
So I can't believe... Sorry.
Right, let's stop recording
Sorry.
for 5 minutes, 'cause I think this is about to overheat.
Okay.
Fine, we'll take some with this.
Oh my God, the filming crew, I should say, bless them, when we did the pilot,
Yeah.
I think they needed therapy after spending a few
Well,
days
they've got
with
now
us
like
then.
3 or 4 weeks with
I
us now.
know.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I do feel sorry for them.
Do you think they're excited? I do. I think they secretly
I
like
think
the banter.
so, yes. And I think they like the banter, and they also like the fact that I was zest for life as well.
But they're awesome. And do you know what? That's one thing, isn't it? It's about kind of teamwork.
Get the team
We
together.
have got the best crew, and to travel kind of that intensively, you've kind of got to have that synergy, really be aligned.
Yeah, because
you
we've
know,
got a tight schedule.
sense of
haven't we?
humour, get our innuendo bingo. Yeah, when we forget that we're, still recording. So we might need to
I
remember
know.
that on the trip.
I think we do need to, and remember not to go to the toilet
With you, my friend.
like I did the other day.
That's a good tip, actually. So what are you most excited about when we're, for the
Do
whole
you know what?
journey?
I'm really excited about meeting all the different people that we've got lined up as well, and listening to their stories, because I think even more so, more than ever, it's that human connection, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
yeah.
so important. To learn about the different stories of people and what they've gone through, and just to understand as well what's important for them.
Yeah, and we're going to be finding out so many aspects about love. I mean, we're meeting so many interesting people. And whilst we've got people, that planned that we're going to meet, we're also going to meet people along the way.
Random people.
Random people.
Yeah.
And you know what you and I like? We'll stick to the plan, and then we might go, oh, look, there's a little side road down here. I wonder what's down here.
Yeah.
Or,
And
so
we'd be
that-
off.
Yeah. Right. So tomorrow. So this is the really exciting bit, the planning. This is the bit that we've been waiting
it's
for.
It's come around so quickly,
I
isn't
know.
it?
And when you see it laid out on a map and you realise kind of, I suppose, even just how big France is and how far we've got to go, it's going to be so exciting.
I know, and when we get to Paris and then we start exploring about George Sand, that famous actress in the 1800s, she was well known for her affairs. She was a writer and she was married, but she was well known for the love affairs. But
Yeah.
I think when she started writing about it, it was just so controversial at that time. She was the first woman to wear a suit in public.
She was so brave. She was
Really
a trailblazer.
brave. Yeah.
And I think she'd appreciate like women riding bikes. She'd be the
I
type that
think
would
so.
absolutely acknowledge what we were doing and
I
find it
didn't
really
think of
exciting.
it like that, isn't it? Because we're exploring the history of Paris and actually bringing in these strong female characters as well, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's so exciting. So it's a really straight road, so all the way down from Calais, all the way, like you say, to Paris, and we'll spend a few days there really exploring all the beautiful history and the stories.
Yeah, so I think, is it about 3-4 days we can spend in Paris then and get down to Lyon, where we stay at the Bikers Rest then as well and explore some details there.
And meet some fellow bikers, no doubt.
And when we get to Saint-Tropez, I cannot wait to get on the yacht and interview that billionaire, because when you come and talk about money as well, and how people in that line of work, they struggle sometimes to find that pure love with somebody, don't they? Because they don't know whether that person's acting with their money or they truly love them.
For the lifestyle.
Yes, and I know
Absolutely.
you're going to get some gossip as well from
Yeah, well, I'm going to go below deck. Well, I just thought, the great thing is because that's where you get the real gossip.
Yes.
The deckhands and the crew that travels with this guy, all around the world. There's going to be some stories there.
And then from there, where would you say, because we need to get up to Lake Como then from
So
there,
I suppose
don't
it's doing that beautiful coast
Ocean road.
road
I mean, the Ocean Road is just stunning, isn't it?
When we get to Lake Como, it's the Italians, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
the love for food, you know, where did that love, the history of the love for food. So when we interviewed the Michelin star chef on the lake,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to sitting in the kitchen and cooking with him in the hotel. It's going to be really interesting, isn't it, to find out about the culture and the food and stuff. So from there then, where do we, we go to Verona.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Explore that story. Beautiful. And again, there's some really interesting couples that we can meet there.
Yes.
Again, we talked about those that kind of fell in love through lockdown.
Yeah.
There's so many options that we've got to
Yeah.
explore there for the
Yes.
programme, haven't we?
I'm looking forward to that stop as well. And then from there we go to Venice. We've got that gondola that we're going to go to the gondola gossip. Oh my gosh, yes. So going down Venice and finding out again, there's so many beautiful romantic stops here. And then we've got some good interviews in Venice.
Yeah, with one of the most handsome gondoliers, for sure.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah, that's going to have to happen. And also, George Sand wrote a letter to her friend in Venice and she talked about love. And she was so controversial when she lived in Paris as a writer, but when she got to Venice, I don't know what happened, so it'd be nice to explore that a little bit more in Venice, because she then wrote about how defining love basically, and if you haven't got love, you haven't got nothing.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful
Isn't it?
end to the
I
journey,
think
isn't it?
so,
Because
yeah.
it started with her, and it's almost kind of then bringing the story to a close.
I think that would be beautiful, isn't it?
Can't
Just
wait.
to finish with that story as well, so we can encompass everything together. So we need to put the bikes. I've got everything ready to put the packs on.
Great.
On the bikes as well. So
Kit's
we just
ready.
Need to get into our leathers.
All right, and then
away
let's
we
go.
Yay!